Also today, in honor of yesterday's Yom Ha'atzmaut, the party that continues all week, of course, Israel Independence Day. Vili Abraham here with some highlights over the decades, 7 of which with innovations that spurned the name Startup Nation. Spurred, not spurn. Spurn is to reject. Spurn lovers. But anyway, so I like that this is a nice little wrap-up year-end in review topic. It's funny because we only were called the Startup Nation not too long ago, but always Israel was.
Yes, we are a renowned nation, and that's because the government has made a strategic decision to invest in commercial research and development. It's also because of the human capital. In the beginning of the 90s, about 1 million Russian immigrants came to Israel. With
wow, it was 1 million. I didn't realize.
1 million, and 85,000 of them were engineers, and that's something that spurred the innovation. And that's why, by the way, we have the largest number of startup companies in the world, the 3rd highest rate of entrepreneurship, and the highest per capita rates of patents filed.
Wow, which I didn't realize. I knew there were 1 million startups, but I didn't know that the patents were, obviously, that's an important part of it. So, what do you think from the beginning? Obviously, we know this was a hand-built country. Like, what is it that was like the seed of Israel being a place for innovation and trying new things?
Okay, so it's first of all the human capital that came here, and it's also the government investment in different technologies and in the human capital. But it also, some of the things started by chance. For example, if we go back to the 50s, the solar water heating was brought here by a guy named Levi Yissar, who traveled to the United States and came across it by chance, and he brought it here to Israel. He made a few changes to make it, to adapt it to the climate here, installed it in his home, and later opened a company which was very, very popular and was the leader in solar heating. But
in the 50s.
In the 50s. But the person who really made solar heating what it is today, perfected it, if you will, is actually Professor Tavor, who actually changed the color in order to make it more observing of the heat, to make it more to observe heat more easily. So, but actually, it wasn't really invented here, but we perfected it. So,
it's like exactly. I think every country will debate where it started first. Okay, also 60s.
Yeah, the drip.
Seeing this, like the thing. These are things I didn't know were that old.
Yeah, very old. In the 60s, the drip irrigation system. It was invented by Simcha in the 1950s, and it delivers precise drops of water and nutrients to plants. And the breakthrough tech was patented and manufactured for the first time in 1965 by Netafim. And Netafim is a kibbutz-owned company. It operates in 112 countries. It has 13 factories around the world. And something that I discovered, and was really surprising, that there is a Netafim University in the United States where they train farmers to get the maximum out of their crops.
How
and to increase
is that?
Yields.
You need to have him come be a visiting professor.
Yes, I would be happy to have that.
Okay, the 70s.
Computer security are one of the most popular encryption methods is called RSA, I'm sorry, named after its inventors, Ronald, Adi, and Leonard. And they provide encryption to a lot of important things that we do today. For example, they secure transactions between customers and banks, transactions between card companies and internet merchants. And when we send emails and WhatsApp messages, that is also encrypted with that technology.
So does he get residuals on that? I mean, did he have it patented?
I hope so. I hope he has.
All right, I love the one from the 80s.
The epilating is an alternative to waxing. It's more effective.
It was a precursor. I remember when the epilator came out. I'm aging myself.
It's really curious because the epilator became a generic term for all of these machines. For example, Brown's has epilators. The Philips company has epilators, and it's really interesting because first of all,
I remember doing it because it was like learning getting to shave for the first time when it came out.
Did the more modern ones also hurt?
I don't know. I haven't. Since then I graduated to waxing. But I remember when waxing came out, and this was all in the 80s. That's how new this stuff is.
A few years later. So the first electric device for hair removal was called Soft and Easy, and it was invented by Yair Dar and Shimon Rahav in 1986. It was later renamed Epilady, and Epilady became the general term or the general word for all epilator devices. It sold over 30 million devices, I'm sorry. But the thing is that it probably didn't patent its idea properly because it was copied by other companies. It was improved by other companies. So I don't know what is happening.
I don't know if this happened today. I'm sure they would have protected it a little bit better,
definitely,
right?
definitely.
Okay, the 90s, which, Israel's most, famous export, but I didn't know it started in the 90s. You think it's something new, recent?
Yeah, the internet boom. So first of all, Mobileye in the 1990s was founded by Professor Shashua and Mr. Ziv Aviram in 1999. It's a vision-based advanced driver assistance system. 25 million vehicles around the world have the system installed in them. 30 automakers are using the technology in order to make their vehicles autonomous. Its market cap is $14 billion. It has a development center here in Jerusalem. It employs 450 engineers and offices in the US, Germany, Japan, and even China.
There you go. All right, the zeros.
Okay, well, the disc and key. Well, I got to show you something that I have here. So first of all, from the 1970s to the beginning of the 21st century, we used the floppy disk.
Kicking it old school, yo.
This is what I used with my wife when we were students back at Superior College.
I remember too.
Remember that? Okay, so the problem with them is that they had limited storage capacity, 1 megabyte, maybe 2 megabytes. So you'd be able to store a few pictures and maybe a half of this interview. And one of their disadvantages was they were easily damaged.
Yeah.
And then came
we're running out of time, so we got to finish.
The CDs appeared later on. CD-ROM, 700 megabyte, also very limited. And then we had this small disc and key, which you can save hundreds of movies, hundreds of files.
And it's only getting more and more storage as we go. Thank
1
goodness.
terabyte of memory, you can store 120,000 pictures.
Crazy. All right, Billy, thank you. See you Friday.
It was a pleasure.
Or see you Monday.
Monday.
Coming up next, it's the